Welcome back to Authentic Entrepreneurs, where we have real conversations about building your business, becoming her, and leading from alignment and not pressure. And today's episode is a powerful one because we're talking about something I believe so many women are craving right now, and that is feminine freedom is a rhythm. And today I am joined by Sadia Hameed, who is doing incredible work helping women reconnect to themselves, their energy, and how they show up in their life and business. Sadia, welcome to the show.
Thank you. Thank you, Michelle. It's a pleasure to be here.
I wanted to start here because I feel this matters. So many women are building their business from pressure, from survival, from I need to make this work. But what we're really talking about today is something deeper. So
That's right.
when you hear the word or the phrase feminine freedom is a rhythm, what does that truly mean to you? And how does that show up in your life?
Sure, I'd love to talk about that. So, all of the work I do now is really anchored in
Mhm,
this true belief and a lived way of being
mhm,
that our feminine rhythm, and we all have one, and each one of ours is unique
mhm,
to us, is really our gateway to our biggest freedom. So we live in a society that is hyper masculine. And as
mhm,
far as we've come with women's empowerment and women's rights and the idea of equity and equality, the truth is that our systems and structures are still all designed around the masculine archetype.
very
They're
true.
not designed around the feminine. And even some of the biggest successes and wins that we have as women around our health and our well-being, they are still designed in order for us to perform in systems and structures that are masculine.
Mhm,
And they're not actually devoted to the feminine. So when women hit burnout, usually around the time that they might choose to become mothers and also have
mhm,
careers,
mhm.
then again around the time when they hit midlife, somewhere when they cross 40, and then usually again when we go through menopause and they're moving out of the reproductive years entirely.
Yes.
And each of these stages is at a really important moment in our life. And we're told from the outside that there's something happening to us. And as we're aging, we need to simply accept this idea that life is going to change, it's going to become more uncomfortable. And I'll never forget an article I read in my early 20s that
Mhm,
just said women can't have it all. You just
mhm.
can't. You can't be a present mom and also have a fantastic career and be a matriarch with your own wealth and all of these things. You're going to need to choose. And I really sat with that because I thought,
Mhm.
well, that's not fair. And I don't want to start
True.
off my career with that in mind. I always knew I wanted to have kids. And so I really thought to myself, no, there has to be a way. I'm sure there's a way. And I found the way when I was about 30 years old
Mhm,
and I wanted to conceive my daughter. And I was having a hard time. And it's interesting because 30 doesn't really sound that old, but
mhm.
biologically, I was told that, it's not as easy anymore. And I met a wonderful woman and practitioner who will always remain dear to me. And she said, before you go down seeking a medical answer and solution and put your body under so much more stress and pressure, why don't we talk about whether or not you're actually living in your feminine rhythm? And I thought, well, what's that? And she explained to me, think of your body and your being as your
Mhm.
best friend. And most of us as women go through our adolescence and even our teens and our early 20s having a pretty fraught relationship with our body based on body image and body shame and
Right.
trying to navigate it and trying to fit standards that none of us actually co-created for ourselves. And so we end up usually in a pretty difficult relationship with our body and our being. And in fact, many of us are disembodied. we're not actually fully present and grounded and devoted in our physical body the way that we can be. And she said to me, so imagine you've been fighting with her for so long,
Mhm.
and then you call her up one day and you go, hey, bestie, let's make a baby. And she goes, I'm not so sure that's a good idea.
Mhm.
And I
Mhm.
remember at the time thinking, that's really interesting. You're right. I have a fraught relationship with my body, like so many women I know. And she took me into an understanding of moon cycles and rhythms and helped me understand that there is a natural inner rhythm that each of us has. And many of us share it as women as we move from puberty through to menopause, through our menstrual cycle. But it's much deeper than that. That is
Mhm.
just one of the most obvious manifestations of the rhythm. And what she taught me, as someone who had used birth control, done
Mhm.
things at times to suppress that natural rhythm, as a form of autonomy, right? And
Mhm.
even an individuality, and then had come off of it and was now trying to conceive naturally. It was a really interesting moment because she said, how much do you really know about it? Not the science of it. Like, do you understand it? Do you know what your
Mhm.
body is doing and how she's regenerating? And I started to understand that a woman's body is one of the most advanced technologies on this planet. And I truly, truly believe that. We have the ability to create life if we choose to carry
Yes.
it, to grow it, to deliver it. And she took me deep into the moons and she helped me understand the planets and she helped me understand the sense of like we move through life so disconnected from our environment
Mhm.
and we don't actually live in our bodies. And I studied with her for a few years. She unfortunately doesn't run these programs anymore. And I did. I conceived my daughter naturally. And I never had any doubt that my daughter would
Mhm.
come. She
Mhm.
was my imaginary friend ever since I was 5. She grew up with me. I always knew she was coming. But when it came time to actually bring her into the world, I realized that something was saying to me, Sadia, you're not going to bring her in the world and repeat all the patterns that you've inherited and that you carry,
Mhm.
that so many women for generations have been carrying.
Very
And it's
true.
not anyone's fault, right? There's no judgment there. We
No.
all carry this in our lineage, especially in our feminine lineage. But there is a time where we get to choose differently. And we get to come back to ancient wisdoms that have existed across civilizations for a long time. What I guide women towards is not anything of my own creation. It's something that's existed and then been
Mhm.
erased over time and just diminished over time. So for me, the feminine rhythm became a really true understanding of where I flow, how I optimize, when
Mhm.
does my energy move in certain ways? How am I interacting with my environment? What happens when in the dead of winter in the Northern Hemisphere we celebrate New Year's and set resolutions and try to push ourselves to perform?
Mhm.
When the season is actually consolidating and resting and conserving. And as women, our bodies are so connected to nature and to the seasons, but we're pushing through. And so then by about springtime, when we want to be blooming, we're already exhausted. And
True.
this is part of what living in the feminine rhythm really means. It means you start to understand the interconnectedness, and then you start to actually apply it in your own life. You learn your sleep rhythms, you learn your mood habits, you start to even learn what foods nourish you better, and you start moving in ways where you can plan your weeks, your months, your
Mhm.
entire year based on these cycles. Because we do tend to know seasonally what's going to happen in our environment. Every single month, right? Every 28 days, the
Mhm.
moon will
Yes.
move through 4 phases. We know this with certainty, at least
Mhm.
for now. We know for certainty. And those phases actually sync to our cycles and they tell us something about our energetic environment. And when we learn that, I'm not kidding when I tell you that I
Mhm.
use these rhythms to get ahead in my career, even when my
Mhm.
children were very young. I use these rhythms to help me optimize and be able to get everything I needed to get done, but still be able to raise them hands-on. I built my entire nonprofit organization from the ground up based on these rhythms, and we were so successful during the pandemic when so many people were collapsing and stressed.
Yes.
And I use it now. And what I realize is that when you follow that rhythm, you're a little bit less likely to fall into the hyper masculine drive
Hmm.
of burnout after burnout after burnout, performance after performance after performance. Now, I'm not going to say you become immune to it because I've burnt out many times,
I
but I
have
have a
to.
very distinct, right? A very distinct understanding that the burnout came because I overrode the systems I knew were true for myself. I got influenced, whether it was by external experts or a certain
Hmm.
pressure to succeed or some other desire to somehow do things faster than
Hmm.
that season may want you to, or than my energy might be prepared to. And in those moments, when you override it, you end up paying a much higher price as a result of it. But when you settle into it and you allow yourself to trust more than anything, that it has a wisdom that is going to lead you to the best outcomes that are specifically yours, then you start to see everything in life change. Your health,
Hmm.
your relationships, your business, and more than that, like your state of being.
Hmm.
One of the greatest compliments that anyone can ever give me is when they tell me, "You always seem so calm and steady." And that's not true every minute of the day. I have a full range of emotions and moods for sure. But for the most part, I wake up every day and I feel really steady in myself. And
Hmm.
whatever situation comes my way, I just have a trust that if I follow the rhythm, I'll find my way through it and everything's going to be okay.
That was powerful. Sadia, what are some signs that a woman is out of her natural rhythm, and how can she begin to shift back into alignment?
So some of the signs you'll see are usually show up very much like in our moods and our behavior.
Hmm.
So it'll be things we hear often, like I slept the whole night and I woke up exhausted.
Hmm.
I took time for myself, but my mind wouldn't shut off.
Hmm.
I My kids came home and they had a very age appropriate tantrum and I just lost it. I know I should have stopped working, but I said, I just need to get that one more thing done.
Hmm.
I'm taking such good care of myself, but I still don't have any energy. I don't remember what I used to do for fun because I don't think I have any hobbies anymore. My partner and I still love each other, but sometimes it feels like we're just roommates. I'm just giving you wide examples, right? Of
Oh,
things that
definitely.
start to be
Hmm.
experienced in life that usually show us that we've fallen out of our natural rhythm. When we're in the natural rhythm and we're embodied in it, there's a part of us that is so deeply devoted to ourselves that we get to show up for everything else we want to do and everyone that we love so
Hmm.
much in the best possible way. So your
Hmm.
relationships shift and become more positive, including with your kids. Your patience is there much more. Your energy, your life force, and your vitality really comes back online. You start feeling a lot more creative again.
Hmm.
So a lot of the symptoms that women experience, and I find that they experience it very heavily, usually between around 35 and 55. Like these are the
Hmm.
peak career years and parenting years, like the overlap. And that's a generalization. You can obviously feel it on either side of that, but I
Hmm.
find that to be the most intense time where women have this feeling of I've lost myself to the to-do,
Hmm.
to the list of responsibilities, to the fact that no one even calls me Sadia anymore. I'm so and so's mom, right? Like,
True.
we could go for years, they don't even know what my name is. And so in these moments, you feel this sense of having lost yourself. And
Hmm.
many women then come to midlife around perimenopause. And we hear things like partners saying, I really miss the woman I fell in love with. And it's like, you don't actually want the 20-year-old version of her. You just
Hmm.
want the version of her that feels alive again,
Yes.
that feels like herself, that's enjoying life again, and that wants to enjoy life with you by her side. And so those are all of the indicators, and there's nothing wrong. And there's nothing wrong in the sense that there's no judgment of it. It's not that you're not disciplined enough. It's not that you're not working hard enough. It's not that you're lazy. It's not any of those things. Now, many women will take these symptoms and they'll go to a wellness practitioner, or maybe even
Hmm.
go to a doctor. I did that for a long time. And there we'll be told there's nothing wrong. But something inside of us is telling us something is shifting, changing. There has
True.
to be something
Hmm.
wrong. So when I say there's nothing wrong, what I mean is there's no judgment, like you didn't fail.
Right.
But yes, there is something wrong in the sense that what you're feeling is not your imagination, and you
Hmm.
shouldn't be gaslit for it. It's true. What you're feeling is real.
Hmm.
And it's not just shifting hormones, because to be honest with you, I'm not sure what period of our life we go through from adolescence to menopause where our hormones aren't shifting.
Right.
They're always in a cyclical paddle. They're always shifting.
Hmm.
And whether we're stressed or
Hmm.
doing other things, is always going to affect that. So it's not just about a hormone shift. It's also something energetic that's happening. My advice to women when they start feeling this is to start really simple. Ask yourself, how do you really feel when you wake up in the morning? That's one of my favorite questions. No judgment there. But how you wake up in the morning tells you a lot just about how your rhythm is. So if you're waking up exhausted, if you're
Hmm.
waking up dreading the day, if you're waking up hitting the snooze button 5 times, something in that says that your life force is not fully online.
Right.
Not just about not getting sleep. It's about something in you that's not energized to like get into your life and be living that life and be living your day.
Hmm.
And then I ask women to say, okay, if you wake up feeling a certain way, how would you love it to be? Not when's the last time you remember it being great, right? Like, how
Right.
would you love it to be now? And it's different for every woman. There's no one prescription across the board, but it's about really stopping to be able to even think that for yourself. How would I really love it to be? What might be some of the things that would help me get there? And then you move from the morning to the rest of the day. What would your perfect average day look like? Like if I
Hmm.
could give you your perfect average day, what would that look like? And we start by creating really small behavior shifts, really
Hmm.
small opportunities to step into that. Because one of the reasons why we can't get there when we're not
Hmm.
living in our rhythm is we have a nervous system that's been programmed for hypervigilance, for safety,
Hmm.
for performance. And that nervous system only knows one set of commands, and that's the commands it's been running all from our childhood through
True.
into our adulthood. And when we were kids, we needed to adapt our needs, we needed to survive, we needed other people to keep us alive. All those things were true. As we grow older, those dynamics do shift and change a little bit. We
Hmm.
have much more autonomy, but we haven't actually reprogrammed our system to see that as being safe. And usually we're continuing to live patterns that are based on performing and pleasing to other people's standards in just about every single area of our life.
Hmm.
So in this moment, the very gentle behaviors are about helping your body feel safe with that new behavior. You can imagine your nervous system like a crossing guard. You would say, I really want to be able to feel a certain way. And the body might say, well, we haven't felt that way, maybe ever or in a long time. So I don't know if that's safe. So
Hmm.
you need to do little things. And
Hmm.
then when it feels safe, the body recognizes it. And then you don't rush it, you anchor into it. And then you do it again. And then you do it a little bit more and a little bit more. And eventually, your nervous system starts to notice a new pattern. I feel better. I'm happier.
Hmm.
This feels lighter. I didn't die. So let's do it again. Let's do it some
Yes.
more. Let's do it some more. Let's do it some more. And so transformation doesn't happen in like one big bang.
Oh
It
no,
happens
definitely. Hmm.
slowly over time, but it happens very quickly. So what I don't want anyone to think is that going from feeling like you're not in rhythm to rhythm has to take a long time. In
Mm-hmm.
many of my programs, it happens within 5 to 8 weeks. Like you go from feeling out of rhythm to actually understanding how to bring yourself back into that rhythm and then doing the behaviors along the way. And they're small things, right? Like how can I nourish myself better today? How can I get outside and get some more sunshine today? What is
Mm-hmm.
something that would like light me up and make me laugh? How do I just put down my phone and be present, right? Without
Mm-hmm.
this need to always be engaging.
Beyond that phone, yeah.
Yeah, small be honestly, my phone, I don't just have screen time for my kids, I have it for myself. My
Mm-hmm.
phone shuts off at a certain time and doesn't let
Yes.
me in. It doesn't open my apps until a certain time in the morning. Like I have to actually train myself to
Mm-hmm.
disconnect from a behavior that my whole professional life taught me was what I needed to do get ahead. I had
Yes.
bosses who would email at 2 in the morning because they had insomnia and they didn't understand why I wasn't
Yes.
emailing them back. Right? And so these behaviors are learned. You wake up and the first thing you do is reach for it. And once you stop doing those things, you
Mm-hmm.
create the space to actually do the things that make you feel a lot better, that
Mm-hmm.
support your body, that support you to be here in your body. A lot of people are uncomfortable in their body.
Mm-hmm.
And perimenopause and menopause only heightens that. But rather than medicating or trying to escape it, and
Mm-hmm.
sometimes we do need that support, but
True.
instead of doing that as a first resort, when we actually lean into it and listen to it, more like a call for help, an
Mm-hmm.
SOS, and hey, remember me, I'm right here, come back home.
Mm-hmm.
Then we can actually work with it and we can reduce so many of the things, the symptoms that we're feeling in really natural and gentle ways. And I don't know about you, but I haven't yet talked to anyone that has looked at me and said, Sadia, that sounds terrible. I don't want to wake up in the morning and be happy to live my life. I don't want to be full of energy. I don't want to be excited and enjoy every moment of the years I have left. Most people are like, I absolutely do
Really
want
do.
but I'm not sure how to get there. And I think there's something about hitting the zone around 40 where you
Mm-hmm.
just have a realization that life might not last forever and that
Mm-hmm.
you're nowhere near done. In fact,
Right.
you feel like you're just getting started. And you want to be healthy and full of life and strong and like have the opportunity and the ability to really explore and live to the fullest. And that is very often when women tend to find me, because at
Mm-hmm.
that moment they realize that all of the ways in which they had been performing and living aren't
Mm-hmm.
sustainable. Excuse me, and they're not going to give them as much opportunity to enjoy life on their own terms the way they really want to.
Mm-hmm. So, I'm going to ask one more question, and this is for the women who are listening right now and know she's meant for more. What is
Mm.
one powerful shift or practice she can start today to step into the version of herself and create from joy, not force?
Absolutely. The most important message I want women to hear right now is, and it's been a really important lesson for me, and it's one that I'm still learning every single day because it's 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 easy sometimes when things feel hard
Mm-hmm.
to try to find the solution out there.
Mm-hmm.
And we are living in a time where being sold all kinds of miracles and we're impatient. And so we want everything to happen quickly. And then sometimes we're disappointed when it doesn't. And so the strongest message I can share with women is everything that you really want, the
Mm-hmm.
answer to it, the blueprint to it is already inside you. You came here like this beautiful plant seed that was coated with your own purpose and your destiny. And much like a beautiful apple tree that goes from this tiny little seed and knows how to leverage its environment and grow into an apple tree in rhythm and harmony with the
Mm-hmm.
seasons, we're all like that. and our codes are all unique and separate, which is why we don't need to compete with each other. We don't need to worry if someone else is doing it differently to us because we're here to do it a certain way for ourselves. All that information is already inside us. So often we can't hear it because our mind is so busy searching, seeking, performing, and being exhausted and trying to survive. And in those moments, we get cut off from our intuition.
Mm-hmm.
And as a woman, your intuition is your guiding compass. It's where your inner genius comes online. It's where you suddenly get that inspired idea, or you remember somebody you hadn't
Mm-hmm.
thought about in a while, or you think, I should really reach out to this person, or I don't know why, but I feel like I should stop up at this place
Mm-hmm.
on my way home. And then wonderful things happen and synchronicities happen. This is what it looks like when we're actually living in our full rhythm and our flow. One of the easiest and fastest ways for you
Mm-hmm.
to get there is you can close your eyes, put your hand on your heart, and take a few deep breaths. And you say the words slowly. I am my own true inner compass. And then you breathe. And then you say it again. I am my own true inner compass. And these words are coded. When you say it a few times, you start to feel the vibration of the words move through your body. And as they settle into your body, you feel the steadiness come into you. And she's kind and she's quiet and calm, but she's precise. And when we come back here to this center force in ourselves, then from there, we can actually ask questions and make decisions. Like, wow, I am really tired today. What is something that would help this feel easier? And can I do it for myself? Can I ask someone else to give me the grace and help me do it? And then from there, these are the small things that you start to notice for yourself. Like, I really don't want to be on that call back to
Mm-hmm.
back. I really think I need to just reschedule it and take
Yes.
30 minutes and whatever that might be, right? Go to the gym,
Mm-hmm.
go for a walk, sit with a cup of tea.
Mm-hmm.
These are the things. This is the way it starts to happen. And then when you understand it with the moon cycles and the seasons and your
Mm-hmm.
own rhythm, and you anchor into this compass, you start to notice patterns. And so you're able to plan your days and your
Mm-hmm.
experiences in ways where you know what part of you is going to show up. There are times of the month when we're supercharged and creative. There
Mm-hmm.
are times of the month when we just really want to be introverted and quiet. So if my team asked me to go perform at an event
Mm-hmm.
at a moment when I know I need quiet, they're not going to get the best of me. And I'm going to really dislike doing it. It's going to
Mm-hmm.
be a job. But when we know and understand these patterns and rhythms over time, then I can tell them, you know what? This is the best date to do it in this month. And I'm going
Mm-hmm.
to show up and I'm going to give you everything you need. And it's going to be great. And we're going to have so much fun doing it. And everyone's going to enjoy themselves. And then you can build businesses and teams this way because you empower the people working with you who are women to understand this for themselves. So then I could say this date works best for me, but maybe my
Mm-hmm.
right-hand person says, you know what, Sadia, like I just need you to know that for me it's this and this and this. And then it's like,
Mm-hmm.
great, let's plan for that. Let's make sure you have the support for that. Let's make sure that it's not just one person is great and everyone else is falling apart because you don't run sustainably that way. And people think this sounds impossible and complicated, but the truth is, the more that we are in rhythm, the more that we find ourselves sinking. So it's like, when you would giggle in middle school and realize that a
Mm-hmm.
circle of friends was all syncing their cycles together, right? Or like you find out that like you and your best friend cycles sync together, or you spend time around people and suddenly you feel like it's all shifting. That's not random.
Mm-hmm.
That is what it looks like when the feminine rhythms are synchronizing towards the collective benefit and good for all of us, because then we start to move in rhythms and waves where we're actually able to deliver together and be together and shine together and rise together. And we
Yes.
don't have to feel so alone while we're doing it all.
That was an amazing conversation today, Sadia. Very powerful. And I want all the viewers to know when this episode is released, I will have a link to where you could reach out to Sadia and find out more on what she does and how she helps others. And I want to thank you for taking time with us today. And I will see you again on the next episode of Authentic Entrepreneurs. Make it a great day.